Hello everybody, this video is one that will show you how to use Zoom effectively as a participant in training. It is brought to you by our sister division, trymentor.com. It will begin by an exploration of how you access Zoom via a link that will be sent via email, and then the major functionality you will ultimately then need. Once the training is scheduled, you will receive an email similar to this that will have a link to launch your Zoom application. The link will be in blue. Simply double click on your mouse to launch the Zoom application. If it doesn't launch, it could be simply a case that you have yet to download Zoom, which your next step then will be to do just that, followed by returning to the email and double clicking. Zoom now launches. Allow me to go through some of the key features. In the bottom left hand corner is a mute button that allows you to turn off your microphone and turn it back on. But just in the top right hand corner of this button is a little arrow, and this shows you the various microphones and speakers that your computer may offer. If you're having technical difficulties in terms of sound or being heard and you definitely unmuted, well then coming here can potentially be a solution as you choose between the options that are available. Beside the mute button is the video button. By clicking this, you'll turn on and off your camera, and like the mute button, it too has a little arrow that will allow you to choose between different video cameras if you have more than one. Further along the bottom of the screen are other buttons. For example, the participant button. By clicking this, you can see who else is in the training with you. To the right of this is a polling button to allow you to do polls. Here is the chat button. By clicking the chat button and then coming to the bottom of the square that is produced, you can write text messages to everyone at once or individuals who are on the training with you privately, which can be a very, very useful thing at times. Right now you can only see everyone because I'm the only one who's using Zoom at this point in time. I will now close this chat by going to the top right hand corner and pressing the X button. Other key features is the record button. Simply do this to record the session. Breakout rooms, which is really used by the facilitator, and reactions. By clicking on this, you're communicating to everyone in the meeting how you might be feeling at that moment in time. Use them carefully. Let's return to the chat feature. We talked about it already being a means for you to communicate with others, but it's also obviously a means for others to communicate to you. The facilitator will use it primarily to send you links so that you can open different applications that he or she may want you to use. For example, a whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard, or a program called Padlet. The facilitator will create a link and place it into their chat box and press return, and everyone on the training will receive it. The question now is, how do you access it? Well, the second it arrives, just above the chat button, you will see a little red box with a number in it. The number stands for the number of messages that you have received. In this case, you'll probably have the number 1. By clicking the chat button, the box will reappear, inside of which you will see a link in which you simply double click. Then independently of Zoom, it doesn't close Zoom, but rather opens up this other application, and that's what you suddenly see in front of you on your desktop. You now interact with that particular application as your facilitator requires and gives you instructions towards. The last button to consider is this one that says More. Sometimes you will have your Zoom window reduced smaller, and as a result the buttons on the bottom that I've shown you, some of them disappear. Where they disappear usually is into this More button. By pressing it, they will reveal themselves, thus giving you access to those functions. Now allow me to ask you to focus on the top right hand corner of the screen. By clicking this, you reduce the size of Zoom. You can see the rest of your desktop, most particularly the different applications you have running down at the bottom. So why is this an important thing to have shown you? Well, if you remember earlier, I talked about the facilitator providing you with links to go into different applications, usually ones that are accessed via your internet browser. An example of one such application is a virtual whiteboard, and here's one right here. But I'd like you to bring your attention to the bottom of the screen. Can you see the Zoom icon? I've just clicked it, and as a result, if you click this while using the virtual whiteboard, you will suddenly be able to see your colleagues' faces. Again, by going up into the top right hand corner of the Zoom screen, Zoom will then dominate your entire desktop. What's important to note though is that the buttons that allowed you to jump between applications like your internet browser have disappeared, and you may want to get back to that virtual whiteboard. Well, to do this, you simply return to the buttons at the top right hand corner of the screen, click on them, and at the bottom you will suddenly see once again all the buttons in relation to the applications that you have running, including the internet browser, will appear. You click the internet browser and wonderfully your application that you want to work on again will reappear. Thanks so much for listening, and I really hope this has been of use, but your facilitator will be there to help you even further on the day. Thanks again. This again has been brought to you by our sister division, tryamentor.com. Thank you.